Well, after 20 years, the heat pump here in our Class A motorhome finally bit the dust. It's totally dead. And this actually happened earlier in the summer when we were still in Mexico and we hightailed it home. Lined up at the wall, heading back into the US. And I had this crazy idea that I was going to just remove the whole system and replace it with a 12 volt DC air conditioner. Now, I had no idea at the time what I'd be getting into or even where I would find such a thing. So it's been quite a process and a journey to try to figure all of this stuff out. And I did ultimately find a source. But in preparation for even doing all this stuff, I got into this compartment here, started digging around. I was able to actually access some parts inside the RV that I've never been able to get to before. So it's been kind of revealing and exciting, and it spurred on some other projects that I should take on and wrap up in here before I actually install this other system. We'll crawl under here. I'll show you some of the things I've been working on in here in preparation for installing this 12 volt system, and then I'll walk you through the components. I have everything, just about everything that I need for this project, and there's still some challenges that I have yet to figure out, and I'll share all that stuff with you. So let's get under here. I'll show you inside this compartment, but first let me show you what it used to look like when we first took the air conditioner or the heat pump unit out. So this spot that I'm crouched down in right now is actually where the old heat pump unit, all 250 pounds of it, would sit. So it's dual compressor unit, a couple of huge blowers in there, and a big condenser coil and an evaporator coil, all in one big unit. Now it took the intake from this area here. It actually sucked it from under the bed. There's an intake I guess vent that comes from under the bed, and it comes to these there's a filter here, there's another filter back there, and it would bring air into the air conditioner here, blow it out through this duct, and it would go in through the ceiling ducting down into the motorhome. I removed this whole, there's a big old metal support frame that is actually just bolted in here. So I was able to remove it, and I have it in the shop. I thought I needed to get behind this whole area here because there's this big open space for this intake that I thought I could make use of. And I did. And one thing I did is to actually reroute the ducting for my Webasto gasoline heater, which I had previously routed up into this ceiling ducting. Instead, I would have rather run it into the floor ducting that the LP heater uses, but it was just impossible to get to because it runs right through the center of the basement thing, and I just couldn't get to it until now. Now I have the gas heater ducting going all the way into the floor here, and I cut away this panel here, which is now removable. I like to have access to places and be able to just kind of remove panels, but previously this was all one piece and I couldn't get behind here, which is ultimately where I needed to get to, but I got it working, and the gas heater works really well. Once I got this off, it opened up another access to areas underneath that ducting that I never could see before, and it's going to be a great place to run cabling. In fact, I need to run a whole new thermostat cable for this air conditioner through here, so I'll probably go through this compartment here, run it through, and it should give me a good path to the control panel. I started kind of piecing together where I might put some of the components. Not everything's going to fit here in the in this main area, so I've got a couple of smaller pieces, the evaporator components that are probably going to sit up here, and I needed to add a support piece. So once I got everything cut away, I cut a piece of angle iron here, and I have that mounted under this shelf. So now I have quite a bit of support up here for those other components. One other thing that I ended up doing in here is to actually reuse the two 20 amp AC circuits and tie them into a utility plug that I can use for other things that I can plug into. Now those are already tied into a couple of breakers in my load center, in my panel, my electrical panel, so that's good. I have them turned off until I actually need to use them, but that's going to be pretty handy when I need to plug in additional things. I like the idea of having everything enclosed in here. This compartment folds down. It's got, you know, slats in here. I'm trying to figure out all the different ways that I can actually mount everything in here and keep it secure, and really secure actually, you know, as I'm moving down the road. You know, one of the things I'm working on right now is actually figuring out a way to mount this whole condenser unit, which is pretty big. It's like it fills this whole area, and I'm going to mount it vertically, and I want it also to keep this compartment accessible, because I'm still going to need to service these components, and I can't have this permanently mounted condenser blocking this whole space. So a big challenge right now is to make it so that, you know, I can kind of keep it mounted up here, but also need to be able to drop it so that I can clear the door as it opens, and then be able to swing the whole thing out. Yeah, I know, right? And that's my plan right now, and I'll show you what I'm working on for that. But let's head on into the shop. I'll show you all the different air conditioning components actually, and show you how everything's going to fit together and work. So this very large condenser is going to sit on the front of that compartment opening. And this is actually going to be facing inside and be able to vent in and down. It's got this gravel guard on it, but this is the outside that's going to be facing out is going to pull air in. This whole thing needs to be able to swing out so I can get behind it and service the other components of the air conditioner. What I've come up with so far is this metal bracket and hinge. This unistrut here is going to sit and be mounted, probably welded to the outer frame of that compartment. It's a big support frame, so it'll be good. And it's got this bar in it that slides nicely. So this part with the hinge, which is welded here, will be attached like this, welded to this piece, and this piece will be attached to the condenser. When it's in normal position, it'll be up like this. But when I need to open it up and get behind it, I'll be able to drop it like this. Sorry, I don't have everything mounted. And then be able to swing it out like that. Yeah, so that's the idea, is that hopefully this will support it. I can also add some more supports if I need to. But yeah, it'll be able to hinge open like that. And there's going to be another piece on the other side as well that's going to attach to the other end of the compartment. This has been one of my biggest challenges so far. Let's get all the other components up here on the table, and I'll take you through all of that stuff. All right, well, here's the remaining components of this system. Now, it's from a company called Cruise and Comfort, and they're located in Phoenix area in Arizona, so you're no stranger to cooling. They've got several systems from 12 volt to 24 to 48 volts, various applications, marine, government vehicles, commercial vehicles, but a lot of their systems are for kind of mid to small. I was able to have a couple conversations with Chris, the owner, and what I ended up doing was kind of putting together kind of a hybrid setup using two of their different configurations. One of them is they have something called the ice box, and it's kind of an all-inclusive box that also has these smaller evaporators, and it's got a blower on it. If you watch the video that I filmed removing our heat pump, that's the blower that I was testing, was this blower right here that is with the ice box. I was originally thinking that the ice box setup is what I was going to use. Ultimately, I decided to go a little bit bigger. The next size up with this is a system called the VES Max. Dual compressors, they're variable speed, 12 volt compressors. But the head unit on that thing is designed for like a ceiling mount. I didn't really want that. So we worked out a setup to be able to use two of these evaporators from the icebox unit and connect them to a VES main cooling unit. And that's what we ended up doing. So this is all the stuff. You got your two evaporators here. I had to figure out a way to combine these ducts, so I've been working on this kind of ducting setup to take both of these and combine them. You'll notice that one of these icebox evaporators still has the blower attached, which is how it comes. And I wanted to move this one down here, which I thought was a cool feature. I could separate them, and there's a bracket that you can get that allow you to just keep this separated from the main evaporator unit here. So that's what I'm doing with the second one. That's that setup. The main unit here is the main cooling unit, which has the compressors and everything in it. This is where my 12 volt power is going to go in here. A couple of cables. I'm using like number 2 AWG cables, and all the other components here are connected with these cables that are kind of ready to go. I may have to add a couple of additional power wires to connect these since I've detached them. So there's a few things I need to do, but everything connects here, including our refrigerant lines, our low pressure and our high pressure line. And the service ports are actually inside here. So this whole cover comes off, and I'm gonna need to actually have somebody actually add all the refrigerant in here. So that's not something I can do. I thought I'd be able to do it myself, but in Washington State here, I can't. You have to be a qualified service technician, an HVAC service technician. So I'm gonna have to have somebody do that when I'm all done. And the refrigerant hoses themselves too, I can either make them myself, or what I'll probably do is contact Chris over at Cruise and Comfort. That's a service they also provide, is to make all of the hoses for you with the right angles and the right lengths. It's typically not something you do up front because you want to, for me anyway, I want to wait till everything is in place and installed so I know the exact length of each hose that I need and how it's going to be hooked up. So yeah, so there's a lot to this. This is definitely not a drop-in kind of replacement air conditioner. You know, at first, once I start getting into it, I'm like, oh, am I getting in a little over my head? I know very little about HVAC, but it's amazing what I've learned in the past couple of months. I have to say that Cruise and Comfort, they've been great to work with. I can just text Chris, and he responds if I have a question or, need something else. So, once we had everything agreed upon, I had a bunch of drawings I sent, and then we put together a system, and then I paid for the whole thing, and then it took a while for them to build it and actually get it sent to me. Now, the last thing is the thermostat that comes with this. This is another, they have several options for thermostats. I went with this really nice one. And let me take you out to the RV because it posed another issue, another project that that I had to take on because I tried to put it in place. And, well, I'll just go down there and I'll show you. I'll show you what the deal is with this. It's a custom-made job. It's got a couple of knobs here for my fan controls. I got 2 fans on the 2 blowers and a nice little thermostat that the cool thing about it is that it's Wi-Fi enabled and all that stuff, so I'll be able to remotely control it from anywhere. So I'm excited to be able to do that, but it's gonna go right here. I think I have enough cable to get it from here back under to where the main AC component is, but first of all, it's just a hair too big. So I'm gonna cut it down. Chris from Cruise and Comfort, sorry, I'm gonna have to cut this just a little bit to make it fit, and it's gonna be nice right down here on the bottom of my control panel. But while I'm doing this, I think I'm gonna end up having to just kind of redo this whole thing, and I think I've got room to do it. I'm not worried about it. I also should mention that this 12-volt air conditioner is just an air conditioner. So I still have my propane heater, my furnace, and I also have the controls for my Webasto gas heater up here, which we typically use more than the LP. What we'll do when it's really cold is we'll use our LP heater to heat it up real quick, and then we'll maintain the that temperature with the Webasto gas heater, which sips gasoline. We can run it all day, all night, no big deal. I still need to be able to control the LP furnace. So my plan is to just get rid of this old thermostat unit, and I believe this thermostat also is just a full-fledged thermostat, heating and cooling. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to just kind of connect the heater control wires into the heater inputs of this thermostat. So this thermostat will then control the heating and cooling. So pretty excited to get that all set up, and I can do that even before the rest of the system gets installed. So that might be one of the things that I do first, since running the cables and all that stuff for this system is going to have to be done before all of that equipment gets put in and makes that area less accessible. So yeah, another project to redo this whole panel, but in the end I think it's going to be really cool. So as you can see, I've tried to stage a lot of this stuff here in the shop. It would be a real pain in the butt to try to do all of this out in the RV, but I've got the big metal support frame from that compartment that the old air conditioner heat pump sat on. So that's here. I also have the enclosure, parts of the enclosure from the old air conditioner. So this is really good. I'm going to reuse a lot of this. Plus it gives me a good sense of the dimensions I need. I'm going to definitely have to build some new enclosures. So this is definitely taxing my skills and I've learned, a lot of new stuff. So, obviously you can see that I've had to do some welding, a lot of metal work, and I'm going to basically shorten this too so that there's a nice gap and it's going to be enclosed from here on. So it's not going to be as wide as the other one was. It's going to be some sheet metal work, and I got to do some wiring. I got to bring power from the battery system all the way back, and I don't have a problem with that part. I've done a lot of wiring. Now, if you're a current subscriber to the channel, expect to see some more updates to this project as things progress. Summer's kind of winding up here and I want to be able to test the cooling. But if you're just joining us for the first time, then I welcome you to hit that subscribe button, join our community. I welcome your comments, questions, and dialogue, as things progress here on this project and others. This is a learning experience for me, and I welcome the discussions and everything that goes on here in the comments section. Also, I've been posting more on Patreon lately, and I welcome you to go join me over there if you want more frequent updates to projects and other things that I'm working on. So thanks for watching, and I hope this is helpful and interesting, and I will see you in the next video.